Harpo Marx was the silent, curly-haired clown of the Marx Brothers. Born in New York to Jewish immigrant parents, he grew up poor, leaving school early to work. He never spoke in films, using a horn, harp, and wild physical comedy instead. Harpo's act mixed chaos and innocence, chasing girls, pulling endless props from his trench coat, and playing beautiful harp music. Films like Duck Soup made him famous. Despite his silly persona, he was thoughtful off-screen, adopting children and playing harp for charities. Jewish identity shaped his humor. The brothers used fake names early to avoid anti-Semitism, but later jokes hinted at their roots. Harpo's silence hid sharp wit, a metaphor for immigrants navigating a new world. He retired in the 1950s but remains a comedy legend. His childlike joy inspired later stars like Charlie Chaplin. Harpo proved you don't need words to make the world laugh. Lauren Bacall. Born Betty Joan Persky in New York, her Jewish mother raised her after her father left. At 19, she became a star in To Have and Have Not, famous for her deep voice and bold persona. Married Humphrey Bogart. Their chemistry defined noir classics like The Big Sleep. Later, she reinvented herself on Broadway, winning Tonys. Though quiet about her Jewish roots, she supported Israel and embraced her heritage privately. A style icon, she symbolized Hollywood glamour and strength. Jeannie Berlin. Daughter of Jewish director Elaine May, Berlin shone in 1970s films. Her role as a dumped bride in The Heartbreak Kid earned an Oscar nod. Career slowed post-1970s, but she returned in The Fabelmans. Her Jewish identity shaped her sharp, relatable humor. Often called an underrated genius, she bridges old and new Hollywood. Jeff Chandler. Born Ira Grossel to Jewish parents, he became a 1950s action star. Known for playing Native Americans, like in Broken Arrow, won fame for his deep voice and tough roles, hid his Jewish roots with a stage name, died young after surgery, a conflicted symbol of Hollywood's typecasting era. Lee Strasberg. A Ukrainian Jewish immigrant, he co-founded Method Acting, ran the Actors Studio, training Brando, Monroe, and others. His techniques reshaped Hollywood drama. Rarely acted but earned an Oscar nod for The Godfather Part 2. Used his Jewish immigrant grit to teach raw, emotional truth. Called the father of modern acting, Sam Jaffe. Born to Russian Jewish immigrants in New York, Sam Jaffe began as a math teacher before becoming a versatile actor. He earned an Oscar nod for The Asphalt Jungle and charmed audiences as the wise High Lama in Lost Horizon. Blacklisted in the 1950s for suspected leftist ties, he rebounded with TV roles. Jaffe embraced his Jewish roots, often playing wise moral figures. His quiet intensity and intellectual roles made him a Hollywood favorite. Died at 93, remembered for blending warmth with gravitas. Shelley Berman. Chicago-born to Jewish parents, Shelley Berman was a stand-up pioneer. His 1959 album, Inside Shelley Berman, went gold, mocking everyday life with sharp wit. A founding member of improv troupe Second City, he later acted in Curb Your Enthusiasm as Larry David's dad. Though private about his Judaism, his humor echoed Jewish storytelling traditions, struggled with criticism for his perfectionism, but inspired comics like Jerry Seinfeld. Died at 92, leaving a legacy of observational comedy. Sophie Tucker. Born Sonia Kalish to Ukrainian Jewish refugees, Sophie Tucker became the last of the Red Hot Mamas. She sang bold, risque songs in vaudeville and fought anti-Semitism as a plus-size star. Openly Jewish, she fundraised for World War II refugees in Israel. Her body humor and resilience inspired Mae West and Bette Midler. Died at 79, a trailblazer for women and Jewish pride in showbiz. Sid Caesar. This Jewish comedy genius from New York created Your Show of Shows, shaping TV sketch comedy. Known for gibberish dialects and satire, he mentored Mel Brooks and Woody Allen, struggled with alcohol but bounced back, writing about addiction. Rarely discussed Judaism publicly, but his immigrant-rooted humor resonated with Jewish audiences. A quiet legend, he died at 91, hailed as TV's king of comedy, Milton Berle. Mr. Television was born Mendel Berlinger to a Jewish family. His Texaco Star Theater dominated early TV, making him a household name. Famous for slapstick and drag comedy, Burley fought for Jewish actors' inclusion in Hollywood, hosted charity shows for Israel and joked about his heritage. A workaholic, he influenced generations, from Carson to Seinfeld. Died at 93, a symbol of Jewish resilience and showbiz hustle. Stan Lee. Born Stanley Lieber to Jewish Romanian immigrants, Marvel's comic book legend co-created Spider-Man, the X-Men, and Black Panther. His stories emphasized outsider heroes, reflecting Jewish values of justice. Started as a writer in 1941, using a pen name to save Lee for novels. Became Marvel's face with quirky cameos. Openly proud of his heritage, he called superheroes the ultimate immigrant story. Won a National Medal of Arts. Died at 95, a pop culture titan who redefined storytelling. Ron Rifkin. Brooklyn-born Saul M. Rifkin, a Jewish actor, shifted to theater after early film flops. Emmy winner for Alias's cunning Arvin Sloan. Stage roles in Jewish-themed films showcased his depth. Kept his career low-key, avoiding fame. A vegetarian and painter, he blends art with quiet activism. Survived Hollywood's typecasting with versatile grit. Ron Silver. Jewish actor-activist from New York City, known for The West Wing and Reversal of Fortune, founded the Creative Coalition, advocating free speech. Initially liberal, he supported Bush post-9/11, alienating peers. Embraced his roots, starring in Holocaust films. Died of esophageal cancer at 62, a complex voice in art and politics. Jack Albertson. Born to Jewish parents in Massachusetts, Albertson won an Oscar for The Subject Was Roses and a Tony. Famous as TV's cantankerous Ed Brown. Vaudeville trained, he balanced comedy and drama. Hid his heritage early, but later funded Jewish charities. Died at 74, a character actor, legend. Janet Margolin. Jewish NYC actress, broke out at 19 in David and Lisa. Struggled with typecast troubled girl roles. Fought studio pressure to hide her heritage. Battled ovarian cancer publicly, advocating health awareness. Died at 50, a talented but underused star of 1960s cinema. Ross Martin, born Rosenblatt in Poland. Ross Martin fled anti-Semitism, moved to New York, and became a versatile actor. He starred as Artemus Gordon in The Wild Wild West, using humor and disguises. A skilled pianist and linguist, he also voiced cartoons. He hid his Jewish roots early, but later supported Jewish charities. Survived a heart attack during the show. Died in 1981. Gilda Radner. This Jewish comedian from Detroit was a star on Saturday Night Live, creating characters like Roseanne Rosanna. Her humor was silly but sharp. She married actor Gene Wilder and wrote about her cancer fight in It's Always Something. Her death raised awareness for ovarian cancer. Fans still love her joyful chaos. Anthony Newley. A British singer-actor, Newley grew up poor with a Jewish mother. He wrote songs like Feeling Good and co-created Willy Wonka. Famous for Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, his flashy style inspired Elton John. Married Joan Collins, died of cancer. His music lives in ads and covers. Gabe Kaplan, Brooklyn-born Jewish comedian, Kaplan created Welcome Back, Kotter, playing a teacher to sweat hogs like John Travolta. His stand-up joked about school and poker. Left acting for poker commentary, winning tournaments. A quiet star who shaped 1970s TV comedy. Hal Linden Jewish actor Harold Lipschitz won a Tony for The Rothschilds and led TV's Barney Miller as a calm police captain. A trained musician, he hosted art shows and acted in family films. Proud of his heritage, he supports Jewish causes and still performs at 90+. Peter Coyote. Born Robert Cohan to Jewish activists, Coyote acted in E.T. and narrated documentaries. A 1960s hippie in San Francisco, he joined activist groups, became a Buddhist, wrote memoirs about his wild youth, and fights for Native American rights. His deep voice makes him a favorite narrator. Dan Hedaya. Born Daniel G. Hedaya to Sephardic Jewish parents from Syria and Rhodes, he became a prolific character actor, often playing gritty tough guys. Known for Blood Simple and The Usual Suspects, he retained his distinct name and heritage in an era of Hollywood assimilation. Hidaya's Brooklyn-accented authenticity made him a Coen brothers favorite. Though rarely in leading roles, his Jewish roots informed his working-class persona. Fun fact, he voiced a rabbi in A Serious Man, nodding to his Sephardic background. Victor Garber. The Canadian actor was raised Jewish by his mother, though he rarely discusses his heritage publicly. A theater legend, he gained fame in Titanic and Alias. Garber balanced mainstream success with Jewish advocacy, supporting LGBTQ+ causes and Holocaust education. His nuanced performances, from Godspell to Argo, reflect a quiet pride in his identity. Notably, he played a Jewish architect in Liberty Heights, exploring assimilation in 1950s America. James Caan, born to German Jewish immigrants, Caan grew up in a Yiddish-speaking Queens household. His breakout role as Sonny Corleone in The Godfather made him a star, though he often joked about his nice Jewish boy persona. A skilled athlete, he infused roles with physicality, but later embraced comedy. Caan rarely addressed his Judaism publicly, but supported Jewish charities. His legacy as a versatile tough guy, with a hidden soft side, mirrored his own layered identity. Bob Dylan born Robert Zimmerman to Ashkenazi Jewish parents in Minnesota, Dylan became a folk icon whose lyrics wove Jewish themes. After converting to Christianity in the 1970s, he later reconnected with Judaism, studying Chabad philosophy and holding a belated bar mitzvah at 75. His Nobel Prize highlighted his storytelling's Talmudic depth. Dylan's reinventions, from protest singer to rock mystic, reflect a diasporic restlessness, yet his Jewish roots remain central. "I'm a true believer in the Torah," he told Rolling Stone in 2009. Richard Benjamin, the Brooklyn-born actor, director, grew up in a Jewish household, later starring in Goodbye Columbus, a landmark film about Jewish American life. Known for neurotic, witty roles, he transitioned to directing, celebrating Hollywood's golden age. Benjamin and wife Paula Prentice raised their children Jewish, and his work often explored identity with humor. As a director, he revived Jewish narratives in mainstream cinema, bridging old Hollywood's legacy with modern storytelling. Nell Carter. Born Nell Hardy, the Alabama-born actress, singer, converted to Judaism in 1982, embracing its traditions while retaining her gospel roots. A Tony and Emmy winner for Ain't Misbehavin', she broke barriers as a Black Jewish woman in Hollywood. Her role in Gimme a Break made her a household name, yet she faced industry racism and health struggles. Carter's faith fueled her activism for LGBTQ+ and Jewish causes. She often quipped, "I'm a Jew," with a Southern accent. Her legacy bridges Black and Jewish resilience in entertainment. Sammy Frey. The French actor was born to a Polish Jewish father and Catholic mother, but identified strongly with his Jewish heritage. A new wave icon, Frey's brooding charisma earned comparisons to Brando. He fled Nazi-occupied Paris as a child, later starring in Holocaust films like The Last Metro. Though private about his faith, his roles often reflected Jewish themes, and he supported Jewish cultural institutions. Frey's multilingual talents and intellectual depth made him a symbol of diasporic artistry. Lenny Bruce, born Leonard Schneider to a Jewish family in Long Island. The boundary-pushing comedian used Yiddish-inflected humor to skewer hypocrisy, anti-Semitism, and censorship. His routines mixed Talmudic debate with street slang, but arrests for obscenity derailed his career. Bruce's legacy as a free speech martyr inspired Jewish comics like Sarah Silverman. He once joked, "If you're from Brooklyn, you're Jewish, even if you're Catholic." His grave in LA bears the Hebrew name Elazar HaKohen, honoring his roots. Melvin Douglas. Born Melvin Hesselberg to a Jewish Latvian pianist and Lithuanian mother, he masked his heritage with an anglicized name. A suave leading man, he later won Oscars for HUD and Being There. Blacklisted in the 1950s for leftist views, Douglas quietly supported Jewish refugees. His second wife, Helen Gahagan, converted to Judaism, and he raised their children Jewish. In The Candidate, he played a morally conflicted senator, a nod to his own ethical rigor, a bridge between old Hollywood and new wave realism. Chico Marx, born Leonard Marx to a Jewish immigrant family, the Marx Brothers' Italian persona masked his Jewishness to avoid anti-Semitism. A piano virtuoso, his frenetic style parodied immigrant hustle. Chico's gambling debts nearly bankrupted the group, yet his wit saved their act. "I'm not crazy, I'm just not a horse." He secretly funded Jewish charities and taught his daughter Maxine Yiddish. His blend of slapstick and subversion laid groundwork for Jewish comedians from Woody Allen to Larry David. Bernard Bresslaw. Bernard Bresslaw, born in London to Eastern European Jewish immigrants, became a beloved British actor famed for his roles in the Carry On films. Towering at 6 feet 7 inches, his deep voice and comedic timing made him iconic. Trained at RADA, he balanced slapstick with Shakespearean theater. Breslaw's Jewish roots influenced his early work in Yiddish plays, and he often infused roles with a warm, working-class charm. A trivia gem, he spoke fluent Yiddish and performed in London's Jewish community theaters, bridging his heritage with mainstream comedy. Mel Torme. Mel Torme, the Velvet Fog, was born to Russian Jewish immigrants in Chicago. A jazz legend, his silky voice defined standards like the Christmas song. Though raised secular, Torme's cultural identity subtly shaped his lyrical storytelling. He starred in radio shows and films, championing Jewish collaborators like Buddy Rich. Later, he embraced his roots by performing at Israeli fundraisers. His memoir, It Wasn't All. Velvet hints at a complex relationship with fame and identity, cementing his legacy as a mid-century musical polymath. Harry Shearer. Harry Shearer, born to Jewish parents in Los Angeles, is a satirical genius behind Spinal Tap and voices like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. His Jewish heritage fuels sharp critiques of power and religion, notably as Rabbi Hyman Christovsky. Shearer's work mocks hypocrisy, echoing Jewish comedic traditions. An activist, he supported progressive causes, reflecting his upbringing's emphasis on social justice. Fun fact, he married singer Judith Owen in a Jewish ceremony, blending his roots with his irreverent artistry. Renee Taylor. Renee Taylor, born Renee Wexler to a Jewish family in the Bronx, co-created The Nanny, infusing Fran Drescher's character with Jewish humor. Her career spans Broadway and films, often highlighting Jewish American life. With husband Joseph Bologna, she wrote Oscar-nominated Lovers and Other Strangers and the play Bermuda Avenue Triangle, exploring cultural identity. Taylor's memoir, My Life on a Diet, celebrates her Queens roots, while her activism for women's health ties to Jewish communal values. A trailblazer for Jewish female storytellers. Don Francisco. Don Francisco, born Mario Kreutzberger in Chile, is the iconic host of Sábado Gigante. His father was a German Jewish tailor who fled the Holocaust. His mother was Catholic. Though raised Catholic, Kreutzberger's Jewish lineage informed his empathy for marginalized communities. His 53-year TV career highlighted Latino culture, subtly reflecting his diasporic roots. In 2011, he narrated a documentary about his father's escape from Nazis, honoring his heritage. While not religiously Jewish, he symbolizes the intersection of survival and reinvention. Rhea Perlman. Rhea Perlman, born to Jewish Polish immigrants, became a comedy icon as Carla Tortelli in Cheers. Raised in Brooklyn, her Yiddish-inflected wit and working-class persona drew from her roots. Married to Danny DeVito, she championed Jewish causes, including Holocaust education. Perlman's voice roles and activism reflect her pride and heritage. Fun fact, her father, a doll parts manufacturer, inspired her gritty, no-nonsense characters. She once joked, "I'm a nice Jewish girl who plays tough broads. It's all in the delivery." Lawrence Kasdan. Lawrence Kasdan, raised in West Virginia by Jewish parents of Eastern European descent, wrote classics like The Big Chill and Grand Canyon, exploring identity and moral dilemmas through a Jewish lens. His Star Wars scripts subtly mirrored diaspora themes. Kasdan co-founded the Jewish Story Partners Film Fund, backing stories of cultural resilience. Married to fellow Jewish writer Meg Goldman, their sons continue his legacy. "Storytelling is in our DNA," he said, linking his craft to ancestral survival. Martin Balsam. Martin Balsam, son of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, won an Oscar for *1,000 Clowns. Known for everyman roles, his Bronx upbringing and Yiddish theater roots shaped his relatable intensity. Balsam resisted studio pressure to anglicize his name, stating, "I'm proud to be a Jew in this business." A civil rights advocate, he supported Soviet Jewry causes. Tragically, his death in a Rome hotel mirrored noir plots he often starred in. A haunting end for Hollywood's quintessential character mensch. Lee Grant. Lee Grant, born Leova Rosenthal to Ukrainian Jewish parents, survived the Hollywood blacklist to win an Oscar for Shampoo. Her roles highlighted social justice, informed by her Jewish activism. Grant directed documentaries on LGBTQ+ and women's rights, once quipping, "My parents fled pogroms. I fight with my camera." Her memoir, I Said Yes to Everything, reveals her battles with anti-Semitism in Hollywood. A trailblazer, she bridged Old World resilience and New World feminism. Mark Margolis. Mark Margolis, born to Yiddish-speaking Jewish immigrants in Philadelphia, became a cult figure as Hector Salamanca in Breaking Bad. Trained under Stella Adler, his stage roots in NYC's Jewish avant-garde scene honed his silent intensity. Roles in Scarface and Pi, 1998, echoed Jewish themes of obsession and redemption. Margolis rarely discussed his faith but called acting a mitzvah of empathy. Anecdote, he kept a mezuzah on his trailer door, a quiet nod to his heritage amid drug lords and hitmen. Susan Kohner. Susan Kohner, daughter of Jewish-Mexican filmmaker Paul Kohner and Mexican Catholic Lupita Tovar, earned an Oscar nod for Imitation of Life. Though raised secular, she married Jewish writer John Weitz and raised their sons Jewish. Her role as Sarah Jane, a black woman passing as white, mirrored her own biracial identity struggles. Kohner retired early but left a legacy. Chris Weitz directed A Better Life, exploring immigrant parallels to her family's journey. "Identity is layered," she said, "like a challah braid." Eli Wallach. Eli Wallach, born in Brooklyn to Polish Jewish immigrants, was a method acting pioneer. Known for roles in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and The Magnificent Seven, his Jewish roots informed his portrayal of outsiders. A World War II veteran, he balanced Hollywood with Broadway, marrying actress Ann Jackson, with whom he performed in Yiddish theaters. Wallach supported progressive causes, reflecting his heritage's emphasis on social justice. His memoir, The Good, the Bad, and Me, humorously recounted his eclectic career. A lifelong New Yorker, he quipped, "I'm a Jewish cowboy, only in America." Shelley Morrison. Shelley Morrison, born Rachel Dominguez to Sephardic Jewish parents in NYC, blended her heritage into her iconic role as Rosario Salazar on Will and Grace. Though she converted to Catholicism, her Ladino-speaking upbringing shaped her cultural versatility. A vocal advocate for Latino and LGBT+ rights, she credited her Jewish values of Tikkun Olam. Morrison's career spanned Sister Act and The Flying Nun. She often joked, "I'm a Sephardic nun." Her legacy bridges multicultural identity and comedic warmth. Shelley Winters. Shelley Winters, born Shirley Shrift to Jewish immigrants in St. Louis, won Oscars for The Diary of Anne Frank and A Patch of Blue. Her stage name masked her heritage, but her roles often highlighted social justice, reflecting her upbringing. A fierce civil rights activist, she marched with MLK and funded Holocaust education. Winters' memoir, Shelley II, detailed her escape from anti-Semitic bullies. "I played survivors because I was one," she said, linking her art to her Jewish resilience. Bob Einstein. Bob Einstein, born to Jewish comedian Harry Einstein, crafted personas like Super Dave Osborne and Curb Your Enthusiasm's Marty Funkhauser. Raised in a showbiz family, his deadpan humor echoed Borscht Belt traditions. Einstein's Jewish identity subtly shaped his satire of Hollywood absurdity. A dedicated golfer, he often joked, My handicap is being Jewish in a Gentile sport. His legacy as a comedy innovator remains rooted in Jewish wit's subversive edge. Michael Curtis, born Manokurtesh Kemener in Hungary to a Jewish family, fled Nazi Europe to direct classics like Casablanca. His films, including Yankee Doodle Dandy, often centered on displaced protagonists, mirroring his refugee experience. Curtis's relentless work ethic masked his fears for relatives lost in the Holocaust. Though he assimilated in Hollywood, his Jewish lens infused Casablanca's themes of sacrifice and resistance, cementing his legacy as a master storyteller of exile and hope. Larry Fine, born Louis Feinberg to Jewish immigrants in Philadelphia, was the frizzy-haired stooge. A childhood chemical burn led to violin lessons, later integrated into the trio's slapstick. The Three Stooges' vaudeville roots drew from Yiddish theater's chaos and timing. Fine's nyuk-nyuk laugh became iconic, masking his shy persona. He quipped, "I'm the middle stooge," just like a good Jewish son. His legacy as a comedy pioneer reflects the immigrant hustle and humor that defined early Hollywood. Gene Simmons, born Chaim Witz in Haifa, Israel, to Holocaust survivor Flora Klein, Gene Simmons immigrated to New York at 8. Co-founding KISS, he crafted a flamboyant persona, masking his Jewish roots, though his upbringing shaped his resilience. His mother's survival deeply influenced him. He later advocated for Holocaust education. Despite the band's theatrics, Simmons retained pride in his heritage, stating, "I'm a proud Israeli." A savvy businessman, he balanced rock stardom with Jewish philanthropy, embodying the immigrant hustle. Fun fact, his first job was teaching English to Hebrew school students. Larry David, raised in a Brooklyn Jewish family, turned Jewish neuroses into comedic gold with Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. His humor dissects cultural quirks, like the schmoopy Yiddishisms or Curb's Palestinian chicken episode. David's alter ego, socially awkward yet morally rigid, mirrors Talmudic debate logic. A self-deprecating atheist, he quipped, "I'm an atheist, thank God." His work normalizes Jewish identity in mainstream media, blending satire with authenticity. Fun fact, he based George Costanza on himself, calling it a documentary of my mental illness. Michael Douglas, son of Jewish icon Kirk Douglas, embraced his heritage despite a mixed-faith upbringing. His bar mitzvah marked a lifelong connection to Judaism, reflected in roles like a Jewish agent in The Sentinel. Producing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest mirrored Kirk's defiance of Hollywood norms. Douglas supports Israeli causes and Holocaust remembrance, stating, "My father's resilience is my compass." An Oscar winner, he bridges old Hollywood's Jewish legacy with modern storytelling. Fun fact, he named his son Dylan after poet Dylan Thomas. He nodded to cultural duality. Rod Serling, born to Jewish immigrants in Syracuse, faced World War II-era anti-Semitism, fueling his passion for social justice. The Twilight Zone became his platform, with episodes like He's Alive confronting Nazism and The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, exploring prejudice. His Jewish values of empathy and moral clarity permeated his writing. A vocal civil rights advocate, Serling used sci-fi to challenge bigotry, stating, "Fantasy is the only canvas large enough to confront reality." Fun fact, he kept a mezuzah on his door, quietly honoring his roots amid Hollywood's pressures. Rachel Green, portrayed by Jennifer Aniston in Friends, is Jewish through her father, Dr. Leonard Green. Though her faith isn't central, episodes like The One with the Holiday Armadillo highlight her cultural ties, as Ross teaches their son Hanukkah traditions. Rachel's Jewish identity, while understated, reflected 1990s assimilation trends, normalizing interfaith families on TV. Her journey from spoiled teen to independent mom subtly mirrors immigrant resilience. Fun fact, the role's Jewish background was ad-libbed. Co-creator Marta Kaufman wove it into later seasons to enrich the character's depth. Jack Kruschen, born to Romanian Jewish immigrants in Winnipeg, excelled as a character actor, notably in The Apartment as Dr. Dreyfus, the wise Jewish neighbor. His Oscar-nominated role blended warmth and wit, echoing Yiddish theater tropes. In The Twilight Zone's The Midnight Sun, he portrayed resilience amid crisis, a theme resonating with his heritage. Krushin's career spanned ethnic roles, challenging stereotypes while honoring his roots. Fun fact, he voiced the rabbi in The Hebrew Hammer, cheekily nodding to his legacy, a bridge between Hollywood's golden age and Jewish cultural storytelling.